Guys, all the cars that you see in these videos are for sale on my website, www.woodsandbarclay.com. Enjoy the video. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm over here at Chris's with the 1980 300 SD. And you can see he's taping off some parts of the car. Now, that appears to be a lot of tape and a lot of parts taped off, but it's just for one little scratch on the passenger door. And I don't want that scratch there, so we had some paint mixed up. We color matched it. I actually took the car to the paint shop and she color matched exactly to this original paint. Let me show you what we're fixing. All right, if you look right there, there it is. Let me get my shadow out of the way. There is a nasty little, I guess that's a door ding or a scrape, and someone put touch-up paint over it already, but I just can't have that because this is, this is a beautiful original paint car, and yeah, it looks great. So we're gonna respray that area, but we got to tape everything off because we don't want that paint to get everywhere. Now, what's cool, even though this is an original paint car and we're going to repaint this door just because of this ding right here, the Mercedes Benz Club of America, or Mercedes-Benz, they actually give out a Silver Star Award for all original cars. And the Silver Star Award allows for you to have up to 2 panels painted and still be considered an original car. So this will still be considered all original, even with this panel painted. But I want to be 100% transparent, show you the process, and once Chris is done taping, I'll video a little of the painting process. All right, guys, so even though we're just doing this one area, you can see in order to prevent any overspray from getting anywhere else, even we put a little flap here so it doesn't even blow down here. But what you can see, I've also removed, sorry about the shadow, I've removed this the anodized aluminum trim piece. You can see there's a line, right? You might be able to see it. That's where that trim piece sits. So that way we can paint up to here, and then the trim piece covers that paint line. And then right down here, I've actually removed the the side molding, and we're going to paint down to under the side molding. So when the side molding goes back on, there's no tape line. And we're about ready to start the process. And again, let me just show you there's the area we're fixing right there. It's about as big as, a little bit bigger than my end of my thumb there. And somebody put some touch-up paint on it, but guys, you can't fix spots with touch-up paint. It doesn't work that way. All right, what we're doing now, guys, Chris is mixing up some, what is this?
Body filler.
It is body filler. He's about to put the hardener in there because we want to make sure that there is no ding at all right up here. We saw us a little bit of ripples right up there, and we want to make sure that's perfectly flat. So we're just a light skim coat of body filler to make sure it's perfectly flat, because guys, when you paint something, if there is a little indentation or a little ding, it will really show up. And so especially when it's fresh paint. So we're just going to make sure it's perfectly flat, and then we'll sand it. And we found like there's a couple little marks here and right there. So this one, and you can see we went down to the metal right here. That's where that main little door ding was.
And it turned out not to be a ding, it just a little scratch of some sort.
Yeah, it wasn't a ding, it was, yeah, just a scratch, because there wasn't actually a dent or anything there. And this is just a real light skim coat, just enough where you can sand it and make sure.
If you're going to paint something, might as well fix whatever's problems are there.
I mean, this is the right way to do it, guys. And everybody's like, oh no, Bondo. Guys,
it's so
every single car that has any type of repaint on it, you get a skim coat, you get Bondo. That's the proper way to do it.
All your old street rods are skim coats of Bondo anyway, because they were imperfect sheet metal.
Well, even those cars you see at SEMA, they skim coat the entire vehicle.
Yeah, to do it right, just like the old 30s and 20s and 40s cars.
Yeah, if you want it to look right, like you see those high dollar, $50,000 paint jobs, they'll skim coat the entire car with body filler and then sand it where it's, perfectly flat. Anyway, I'll come back in a minute once we get into the sanding and paint right here. There's the body filler, guys. Evercoat Z-Grip filler 100-282. And I think it's like 50 bucks a gallon, Chris
51.
was saying. And once it dries, you just got to sand it smooth.
We're using 320, trying to keep it simple. It's very minute, so it's better to go easy and keep it small. Don't get in a hurry, just take your time.
Okay, done sanding, and you can see most of that body filler is removed.
It's just so small and so light. It's just a little bit heavier than this. In all those spots, it's so minute, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, they were just very small indentations.
You really you had to look to see them, but if we're gonna paint this panel, you might as well fix it.
Now what is that?
Primer. You must cover your ugly spots up. It just fills micro layers of paint, basically, is all it amounts to.
And there we go.
Let this dry. Sand it down and hopefully be able to shoot it.
All right. Chris, what are we doing now?
We are buffing to get a shine into the paint and also to scratch the paint. Buffing compound does actually have a little bit of abrasive, so therefore you are scratching the paint so we can blend it, because chances are we're going to have to come back just a little bit so we don't have a mismatched color.
Guys, I don't know if you could hear that over the buffer, but this is it's a heavy cut compound, and he's just lightly buffing, and that's going to add some micro scratches into the paint, so that way the paint will stick better if he has to come over a little bit into this rear corner to get it to blend properly.
It shines the paint up enough, even these scratches, and we'll buff over that so you don't see all this stuff. But we want it where we can see the paint, so when we're blending it, we don't have issues. We want to know we have the right color. You don't want to do it 3 and 4 times over.
40 years experience, guys. So every painter has their own method of doing things, but Chris has been doing this since he was a teenager, and I trust his process 100%. But like I said, it's a little different for every painter for doing repairs like this.
Everybody has their own preference.
So I'll come back in a minute when he's done with this, you guys. Anyway, you guys get the idea. All right, guys, now he's just wiping it down with a rag. But we were just talking, like, if there's any wax on your car, you have to remove the wax or the polish before doing anything like this.
Or ceramic coat.
Or ceramic coat especially. That stuff, if you talk to any painter or any detailer, they all hate ceramic coating.
They don't
now,
mind charging you to install it.
yeah. Now, that compound you just saw, what'd you call it, Chris?
It's a paintable.
It's a paintable compound.
Right.
So you can just wipe that off, but it doesn't have any grease or wax base in it, so the paint is not gonna, it won't have a problem sticking.
You'll have a lot of companies use what they call a show car polishes, compounds, whatever. That will not be something that you can paint over. You only want stuff that's
made for paint.
Exactly. Strictly for automotive body shops where they're going to constantly be screwing stuff up like this.
Now, guys, before we started, you know, the car was wiped down with ammonia. What'd you use on there?
Glass cleaner.
Glass cleaner, basically.
With ammonia,
With ammonia. It was wiped down and cleaned, but then after doing these small spots like this, the compound, you know, cleans up basically his sanding marks that he had in here, but it also cleans the paint and gets things ready for him to spray the first layer of paint on. Is that all you do before you start spraying the base?
Yes.
And so that's the last stage before we spray the base. Chris was just saying that you can tack rag it.
A lot of people do. Most
at this stage. All right, let's see what Chris is up to now. He's got his
Mixing paint.
basically for these little jobs, he will use, it's basically like an airbrush.
Yeah, it's a small spray gun.
Small spray gun, but it's kind of equivalent to like an airbrush because you use low pressure and you get really close. Whereas if you're doing a whole car, guys, you want, you know, a regular size paint gun.
Well, they mandate a HVLP, high volume, low pressure, so you get a lot of paint out of these little guns.
Yeah, these little guns are great for these spot fixes on doors or, you know, stuff like that.
Don't try to blow high air pressure just like you would have a big gun. Back it down and keep it simple.
And what kind of air pressure, what kind of PSI would you, the range?
I'm different from everybody else. I run 6 to 8 PSI.
6 to 8. Yeah, that is low. But you're also like a couple inches away.
Yeah, I keep it close. I want as much on the car and less in the air.
There we go, guys. Like I said, every painter has their own way of doing things. So, you know, if we asked 5 painters today how to do this, they would all do it completely different. But like I said, Chris has been doing this for 40 years. He knows what he's doing.
I can fake it.
Fake it till you make it.
There you go.
And this is what Susie mixed up for us. You guys haven't met Susie in the videos, but Susie runs a shop out in Bowden, Georgia. And basically we give her the paint coat off the core support. And then, you know, the paint is 50 years old. So it's not going to be an exact match to that original paint coat anymore because there's going to be a little bit of fade. So Susie will add in like 1 drop at a time. You know, it's measured by weight in grams. And she will, and then she'll go out to the car, put a little dab of it on there until she gets an exact match. And Susie is really good at that. All right, I'll be back in a second once he starts spraying the base.
Paint on right now. Just getting an idea.
So guys, he's barely dusting it on there right now.
You can put a bunch on it or you can put just a little bitty bit, however you want to do it. But you want to cover the primer up, keep it simple, let it flash out.
See guys, that's just barely any on there, just to get started. And when you say flash out, what do you mean by that?
Just dry time.
Dry time.
Just
And
needs to dry.
what's that, like 10, 15 minutes?
Nah, not out here. On a day like today, it actually dries pretty quick. I mean,
So,
once it's not sticking to your fingers, when you got the sun on it, is when you can see the paint.
yeah.
We might come up a little bit higher on air pressure, just to cover it a little bit. But you can see from the video, there's no spray.
Yeah,
It's on the car.
it's a very subtle, very light.
You probably have to be looking at it completely
That
sideways
already,
to see a spray.
that already looks awesome.
And if we go good, hopefully from this line up, and hopefully we don't have to get on the door. So now
Wow.
it's out of the sun.
Guys, he barely applied any paint, and you can already see. Look at the difference.
There's just a little bit of a ring in there.
Yeah,
a
that's
little bit
where,
of a dark discoloration.
that's where the skim coat was.
No, that's where the primer.
I'm sorry, the primer, yeah.
That's just your edge of your primer, or any where we sanded down different layers of paint or whatever. But if you keep it simple, hopefully everything will go good. You can do this at home. They make little aerosol cans at the paint store where you can actually have paint made up for you, and you can put it in aerosol and you can spray paint just like a regular spray can.
You can get it to be pretty.
You can get the base coat.
Now it's not going to look as good as what you're doing.
It can.
Really?
You can get the same exact clear. You get the same exact base coat. I mean, it's
really all about the prep work.
yes.
Yeah.
It used to be 90-10 for preparation and then paint work, and now it's 75-25. There's a lot of finish work after you paint it.
All right, guys, we'll come back in a minute. He's gonna lay a little bit more down, and
So we get all the gray out of it. You can see a little bit of dark discoloration in there, so we don't want to lay it on like this where it's running off.
There's our spot. Yeah, you can see our spot right there. He's gonna put a little more paint on there.
We just want to cover it enough and not be greedy.
Sorry for the shadows, guys. We got a big shadow right here. It's that time of day.
We're trying to keep it where y'all can see it the best. We can go indoors, but if we keep it out here, it's better for you.
All right, guys, I will come back when he's done with this, and we're starting to apply the clear. Wow, she nailed that paint color.
She is killing.
She is so good. That's it. That is the exact correct color. Now, we do have a sun and shadow, so it's hard for you guys to tell, but
She's a lot better at matching color than me.
oh yeah, she's good.
That's why we use her so much. But you don't ever know until you get to this point.
All right, guys, we're taping off some more just because we don't want to get any of this overspray anywhere. And basically, the base coat, is the base done at this point?
Yes, the base is done. We just got to clean the gun out and put the clear in it.
So now it's going to get clear. So you can see it's got like that kind of flat. It's a matte color right now. It's not glossy. Where, see, this back here has clear coat on it. See, it's shiny. And now the clear coat is going to go over just this area right here.
We just feel that it's matching good enough that we don't need to blend out any further.
Yeah,
you know,
originally,
keep it simple.
Originally, Chris was thinking about blending it into the quarter, but the paint match is so dead on that we decided we do not have to do that.
Probably 90% of the time or better, you will be painting both those extra panels just because of
the color match. You had to feather it into the other panels, but Susie just nailed it on this paint color. All right, guys, what Chris just poured out some clear.
2 to 1.
2 to 1. When you say 2 to 1,
2 parts cleared, 1 part reducer.
Okay, so that's the clear.
This is your activator.
Medallion European clear coat.
This is a European car, ain't it?
Yeah. And this is the
hardener, Viagra, whatever you want to call it.
The hardener. Same as like body filler, guys. You got to add a hardener to it.
Or it don't work.
And then you mix that clear up. There we go. And he'll start spraying clear in a second.
Usually it'd be matrix clear, but that's a really good clear.
And guys, you might say, hey, that's a dirty paint cup.
That paint cup's 12 years old.
This is the same cup that I've been seeing over here for years.
I'll wipe it out. I'm not going to waste. I'm sorry.
Chris reuses these rubber gloves. He's very frugal.
Everything costs so much. It's ridiculous.
It does, man.
And they have to pass that on
Remember,
to the customers.
so before COVID, you could get these for like $10, and now they're like $50 a box.
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
I mean, they even charge you for paint filters a lot of times.
All right, guys. So he'll mix that up, and
even straining the clear.
Yep. And we'll get this applied here in a second.
All right. You want to spray?
No, I don't want to mess it up.
Come on.
No.
Go ahead.
No. You go ahead. Guys, this is where it gets good. You really get to see the nice shine.
We did turn the air pressure up a little bit on the clear because with a 2 to 1, it'll knot up if you don't. So
wow, that
the
already.
First coat, you got a little bit of orange peel texture to it, and a little bit of probably pinholing because it's not real heavy. The next coat will be heavier.
Guys, you can already see that's just one, like just a slight quick pass, and it's already like that clear just makes it pop, man. It looks so good. All right, he's gonna go over it again in a minute, and I'll be back. All right, this is the second coat. He bumped up the pressure to about 16 to 18 psi.
And that's not much with this little bitty gun.
That's just it. You lay it down. He did like one pass all the way over, overlapping passes. 50%, and we're gonna let that one dry. Takes about 5 minutes in between coats.
Just in case they thought it was dirty in that mixing cup. You can see how clear it is.
Yeah. All right, guys. Chris has peeled away a lot of the tape. Look how beautiful. Now, keep in mind...
Go ahead and tell them the rest of the story. This is like open heart surgery to you, and you feel like you have to hold your breath the entire time until it's done.
I do. I panic a little bit every time we do this. But Scott, now, it's going to go to Scott. We want it to dry for like 3 days. You know, make sure that clear gets really hard and really cures.
It will.
And then it's going to go, wow, man, that looks good.
You change your story. Going to Scott.
Oh, yeah, it's going to Scott. And Scott will do a light sanding and buffing, and then she'll be done. But remember our spot right there, guys?
What spot?
Show me where that spot was. Look how beautiful that came out.
Susie is the queen of matching paint.
She nailed it, man. I mean, it is like dead.
That's why I let her do it and I quit doing it.
It is dead on.
That's why I quit matching paint. She does a lot better than me.
So we'll get all the tape off of here, and I'll show you the car before I load it back on the trailer, and then we'll get it over to Scott's place. All right, so the sun is right behind that tree, so I got a tree branch shadow on the car. But let me see if I move over here.
You can get inside there.
So I do have to put the trim back on. I'm going to do that tomorrow. Make sure everything dries. There we go. That's pretty good shot. Nope, not painted. Painted. And guys, that is beautiful work, Chris.
Like I said, I get lucky every once in a while.
Chris gets lucky every once in a while.
Susie makes us look good.
That's just, I'm so happy with that. It looks so good. So anyway, tomorrow I'll put our anodized aluminum trim back on, and then put our molding back on. And in 2 seconds, it will be tomorrow, and you guys will see that. All right, guys, we're back at the shop after repairing that section right there. You can see it looks beautiful. And now we're going to put the trim pieces back on the car. There we go. All right, now we need to put the trim piece across the top back on. All right, let's see here. This is going to go on like this. Now we have these little plastic inserts. We're going to put one right here. Actually, we're going to put this one, move it down a little bit. We put it here and here. This keeps the trim from like rubbing on the car. Now this these just push down into place, and there's a back one right here. I need to lift up this rear gasket a little bit, and then this one tucks down. See right there, tucks down underneath that gasket. Okay, so to get that rear clip, see it's got to kind of go under that gasket. We want to go ahead and pull it off from the trim. All right, there we go. We can set the trim down over here. There we go. That's how Mercedes did it right there. They tucked that gasket back over that lip, and then they put this piece on there. There we go. That's how they did it right there. We're going to tap that in place with a rubber mallet and a wooden peg here. Okay, beautiful. Now let's get our trim piece reinstalled. So this piece right here, this is the window brush. This actually goes, here we go, between the window and the door panel. There's a gap here, and this brush fills that gap. And you notice the clips, there you go, hold the brush and the trim, and there's a notch in the middle of the clip. And that notch is what goes onto the door. So we're gonna get our rear one lined up back here. All right, good. Okay. Now we just push all these into our clips. And make sure I got this back one back here. And then we just push down. There we go. Beautiful. There we go, guys. I'll wipe my fingerprints off of there. And there we go, guys. Wipe some of these fingerprints off there. I'll hit it with some polish. And there you go. That's where that little ding was right there. And it looks absolutely beautiful. Got our trim all back on here. And we got the color match exactly correct. We did that with a laser scanner and then manually making adjustments. And that's how you do it, guys. As you can see, that was like a full day project. We had disassembly, had maybe 4 hours over at Chris's place, bringing it back here, then reassembly, all for a little scratch. You can see what's involved, but now this car has a flawless rear passenger door. That little scratch, I didn't like that. It really took away from the vehicle. So hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you next time.